This is Whim, a risky word game where location is everything. Here's what's in the box: a full color rules booklet, 24 chips, 50 scene cards, a carrying bag, 1 playing die, a timer, an answer pad, and 5 letter pies. To set up the game, shuffle the scene cards and place them to the side face down in a pile. Pick the set of letter pies you will play with for this round, using either the white or the gray background, and stack them face up. Each player should take 3 chips of the same color. We've even included an extra chip per color in case you misplace one. And make sure each player has a piece of paper from the answer pad and a pen or pencil. So let's play a sample round with 3 players. One player is going to use the blue chips. The second player will use the purple, and the third player will use the orange chips. So you select a letter pie for the round. Now remember, you have 10 different ones to choose from to start. When you're playing, you play 5 rounds, so pick whether you're going to use the white backgrounds for that game or whether you're going to use the gray background. In this case, we're going to go with the white background, and now we're going to roll the die to determine the location of the letter in the word. For this round, the letter needs to be incorporated as the first letter of the word because we rolled the letter F. Roll the die to determine what will be the required location of the letters in the words. Does the letter have to be the first letter, or somewhere in the middle of the word, or as the last letter of the word? Players are going to place between 1 to 3 chips on letters that they want to incorporate into words. So it looks like the blue and purple players put a chip on T, the orange player put a chip on J, on U we see an orange and a blue player, on the R a purple placed a chip, and on the A the blue placed a chip. So blue has played all 3 of their chips, while the purple and orange players have decided to just use 2 chips. Now we're going to flip over a scene card to determine the theme for the words. And in this case, we get a grocery store. So now what we need to do is all the words that score points need to be things that are found in a grocery store that have the letter that they chose as the first letter in the word. So now every player has to write down 1 word for each letter that they put a chip on. Make sure the word has the letter in the correct location so you can score points. Now that the minute's up, it's time to assess and score your answers. Before we see how our players did, let's talk a little bit about how to score. Scoring and assessing answers. The first thing is if only one player's chip is beside a letter. If you have an answer that's acceptable, then you get 2 times the amount of points on the letter if you're the only one that has your chip on that letter. However, you took a risk because if you have an answer that's not acceptable or you fail to put an answer down, then you lose 2 times the number of points that are stated on the letter card. Now, it might be that more than one chip is beside a letter. Several players might have chosen the same letter. If you have a unique answer, then you get the face value of the points on the letter. If you have the same answer as someone else, then neither of you get any points. If you didn't put an answer down that's in the category with the letter in the right place, then you just lose the number of points that are on the letter. So let's talk about how you assess a good answer, or an answer that's acceptable and can score points. First of all, the word needs to convey a thing or a type of person, for example, a teacher. That would be part of the type of scene. A word is a complete single word and does not contain a dash, or it can't be a word that you created yourself by merging 2 words that are usually separate. Also, remember, you can't just add an S to the end of the word to make it plural and now score for the S. And finally, brand names aren't allowed. Now, there's going to be some challenges as people decide what's a good word and what's not an acceptable word. So you can challenge any player's answers. Challenges should be for answers that are too far-fetched or too big of a stretch to be considered legitimate. If a player's answer is challenged, then the rest of the players will vote out loud on whether to accept or reject the answer. If there's a tie, then the challenged player will be able to win the points. Let's see how the players did. Let's look at their score pads. So, for grocery store, player Orange had put a chip down on a J and a U and needed to come up with words that were found in a grocery store that began with those letters. Well, they came up with juice and they came up with utensils. Those are both good answers that can be found in a grocery store. So, since they were the only one on the J, they scored double the 5 points and got 10 points for that. On the U, they get points, but because there was someone else already on that board with them, they just get the face value, or 3 points. So they scored 13 points for that round. That's a great job. Now let's look at the purple player. They chose to put their chips on the letters T and R for this round. And so for T, they picked tomato, and for R, they picked radish. Turns out player blue has also put tomato. They were also on the T, so that tomato got marked out. But radish was good. An R is only 2 points, but because they were the only player to put a chip on the R, they get 4 points. So they get 4 points for that round. Now let's look at the blue player. Well, as you already know, they chose tomato for T, and since the purple player chose that too, they cross each other out and they don't get any points. The blue player also chose to put their chips on A and U. So for A, they chose arugula. That's a great word, and since they were the only player on the A, they get double the face value, so they get 2 points. But they kind of messed up at the U. They were there with orange, but they couldn't think of anything that began with U that they could find in a grocery store within that 1-minute time frame, so they lose the face value of the points. They don't lose double because, thank goodness, orange was there, and that kept them to only losing 3 points. So if you total up their score in the blue, unfortunately they're at -1, but they can make it up in the next round. And at the end of 5 rounds, whoever has the largest score is the winner of the game. And that's Whim, a risky word game where location is everything.